Hey there, amazing business owners. I want to apologize if my voice is a little scratchy today. I have been recording all day and I am super excited for you to hear this episode. It's something a little bit different from what I usually do. This is the first official Just the Tip Tuesday episode, and these were set up as an opportunity for me to add flexibility into my podcast schedule. Something that I've been kind of working on is consistency. And one of the reasons that I haven't been entirely consistent is because I want to have the chance to share things when I want to share them. And I felt like that wasn't happening with a rigid podcast schedule and things like booked several weeks out. So this will give me the chance to just kind of slide an episode in. And don't worry, it's not in place of the regular episodes. It is in addition to the regular episodes. So you're going to get 2 times the goodness on these weeks. I am excited to share this episode with you today. It's a little bit more of me speaking and just sharing what's on my heart. 2020 was a year of chaos. And in this particular episode, I am going to share 10 lessons from 2020 that I learned going through all of the things that we all went through, right? And this is only part 1. I actually could not get the list down below 20. I think they're all super important things. And so for that reason, I wanted to split it up, make it a little more bite-sized and quick listening kind of material. So this will be part 1, and part 2 will be coming up shortly. I want to share with you all the lessons that I learned from 2020, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because we all had a little good, bad, and ugly in 2020, right? Today's episode is going to be part 1 of the top lessons that I learned in 2020 as a business owner, as a human, as a woman, and as a mom. Hey there, awesome people. I am Brooke Summer, and you are listening to Business Straight Up, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs to learn, connect, grow, and build the business and life that they dream of. Welcome, let's get going and dive right in. Welcome back, amazing business owners, to Just the Tip Tuesdays, the part of my podcast where I can just kind of interject the things that are on my heart. The whole reason that I set this up was actually because I wanted to have a schedule, right? I wanted to have a new podcast episode every Wednesday, but if I scheduled it too far out, that didn't give me the flexibility to bring in a little bit of what's going on or what I might be working on, because there is a process when it comes to podcasting. So when I record it, then I have to do the spoken intro, then I send it to my editor, then the show notes and the images have to be done. And there's so much more that happens behind the scenes. So I decided we are going to have our regularly scheduled podcast episodes on Wednesdays, but I also wanted to include an opportunity for me to kind of interject what is going on. So that is Just the Tip Tuesdays. They're also live videos that I do in my Facebook group, but they will be extra podcast episodes that are just kind of slid in there like, oh, hey, it's me in your earbuds. What's going on? And for this first Just the Tip Tuesday, because I actually had planned on another one happening, and then it turned out to be a whole episode. So we're going to call this one the first one. I wanted to talk about lessons learned from 2020. Whoa, I have joked in the group. If you're in my Facebook community, you've seen this. And if you're not, why the hell not? Come on over. But I was joking in the group that I feel like 2020 should be a verb now, right? When you had a plan for the beginning of 2020 and it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, we're going to say it was 2020. Okay. That's just how it's going to work. We're going to throw that in there because 2020 was the year of chaos, right? And I wanted to kind of share with you the things that I learned, the things that I reflected on, the things that I have journaled on throughout the year. And this episode is unscripted. I just want you to know I have a list of the things, but what I'm planning on sharing with you today is not scripted. There could be some swear words, so make sure I'm in the earbuds if your kids don't listen to swear words or you don't want them to hear. My kids hear them all the time, so I'm not worried about that. But if you are, you might want to make sure to put me in your earbuds or wait until the kids are in bed, because I'm going to share a little bit of my heart with you. So lessons learned from 2020, I was finally able to whittle this down to 20 lessons total, but I'm going to split it into two different parts because I don't want to have a time constraint. Again, like I'm trying to line things up so that I'm consistent, but at the same time, building in flexibility. I feel like that is kind of my overall theme for 2021. First lesson learned from 2020. Raising amazing humans is one of the most amazing things I will ever do and the hardest. I have two kids. One is 16, one is 6 years old at the time of this recording, and they are truly my joy. They are so kind and funny, and I just love being with them. They are also the people who can rip my heart out of my chest and stomp on it and think nothing of it whatsoever. I homeschool both of my kids. We have a very unique setup when it comes to our schooling, and that will change next year most likely. But for right now, it is what it is. And man, it was not easy last year. I had tons of plans for 2020, tons of goals, and they were all kind of shot to hell, and that's okay. You know why? Because we're all just doing the best we can in our lives and our businesses, and we made it work. And guess what? We still like each other. We still love each other. We still want to hang out. We still want to spend time together, which is pretty freaking amazing given what we all went through last year. My second lesson, number 2, learned from 2020. It's okay to feel awful, but put a cap on it. I feel like there are so many times that people want to not feel the negative feelings. When you're feeling sad, when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling angry, people will immediately jump in and try to fix it. Even when kids, oh, why are you sad? What's wrong? What can I do? And I have found myself doing that for my family for over a decade. And just recently, in the last year and a half or so, I have let that go, and I cannot tell you how freeing it is. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel sad, but we need to put a cap on it and let go of it when we're done feeling the feelings, because it doesn't serve us, and wallowing in that doesn't help or serve anyone. Last year, I even have selfies that I took of me lying in bed and just sobbing, because there was so much going on. We didn't know what the hell was going to happen. We didn't know what any of this would look like with COVID. Is it really going to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Well, here we are almost a year later, still working on all these restrictions. And it was a difficult year from that perspective. However, I'm also aware that from our perspective, we have a home that we can spend time in. We have family members that we can hang out with and move through the rough times with. So there is definitely good in that situation as well. So I wanted to take the time to feel the feels and to feel shitty and to feel frustrated and to feel angry and to feel mad. I was so frustrated for my daughter when we went to go pick up her preschool information and her packet and everything, because she had to hang out of my sunroof to say goodbye to her teachers, because in May of 2020, no one could go in the building. It was so crazy frustrating for me to watch her be sad about not understanding why she couldn't be with her friends. And my son was in high school, and it was equally hard for him too. Watching all of this was so frustrating to know that my kids were kind of being screwed in some ways, and there was not a damn thing I could do about it, because as a parent, we all want to fix that, right? And then with my own business, my photography business was shut down for 5 months. Completely, 100% shut down for 5 months. You want to talk about frustrating? Holy moly. I was very upset, and I tried to stuff those feelings. I'm like, it's okay. It'll be fine. Everything's great, right? But it didn't help. Stuffing those feelings didn't help. They didn't go away. They just got bigger and they got stronger. So I learned that it's okay to feel the feelings, to let them in, to feel them completely, and then to move forward. Number 3, lessons learned from 2020. I am responsible for my happiness. It comes from within. And when I am giving someone else the responsibility for my happiness, for me being happy or having fun or feeling grateful, I am giving away my power. And this one is still kind of a hard thing for me to wrap my head around, but it's so important to remember this. If you want to be happy, be. I'm sorry, I don't know who said that, but I do know that it's something that has really struck me and really resonated with me. If you want to be happy, you can choose to be happy. Even in the worst situations, you can still choose happiness. And it was something that I really, really had to take a look at. I was in a situation that none of us have ever dealt with before. Even my aunt and my mom and that generation, several of them were going, what the hell is going on? None of us have seen anything like this before. We were all wondering what the hell was going on. And we had to choose to be happy, even in the difficult times. So feel the feelings and then choose to be happy and move past it. Number 4, this one is hilarious to me. It's okay to be extra. I don't know why this was such a light bulb moment for me. I have always been extra. And quite frankly, I've always been kind of shamed for it. People call me over the top. They call me extra. They say I'm too much. And I am just now at 39 2.0 years old, realizing that it's okay to be extra and that self-care can look like whatever the fuck I want it to look like. It's not just bubble baths and it's not selfish. If I decide that I want a fun syrup for my coffee, that's okay. If I decide that I really want a silly rose gold bell sitting on my desk for fun times so that I can have little parties throughout the day just because I damn well want it, that's okay. Wanting something and making it happen for yourself is enough reason to do something. You don't have to justify it. It's okay to be extra and to just want something. I love this lesson, and I might do a much larger podcast episode on this later because it is something I have really struggled with for most of my life. I've been told you don't have to be the center of attention. Why do you have to be so loud? Why do you have to be so much? There's too much. You're too loud. You laugh too loud. You laugh too much. Oh my gosh. Someone actually told me that. It's okay to be extra. Number 5, while it's okay to slow down, it's also okay to love your life as it is. This one kind of struck me because so many people during quarantine were like, oh, I'm so grateful I had the chance to slow down and to really spend time with my kids. And I get that and I hear that. But at the same time, I was already living my life in a way that set myself up for time with my kids. I didn't need to add more, which sounds mean to say, but I was missing my friends. I was missing travel. I was missing growth and being surrounded in person by like-minded people. And I felt like part of this whole, you should be grateful to be home with your kids right now because one day you're going to love it, was just shaming the fact that I really wanted to be out. I wanted to enjoy time with my friends because I've already set my life up in a way that I was proud of. I wasn't ashamed of how my life looked before quarantine. Why would the changes now make me happy? I had been extremely intentional and deliberate beforehand. So I had to learn that it was okay for me to say, you know what? I loved my life the way it was before. I wasn't overextended before. We have actually been extremely deliberate in not overextending our kids. We are not those people that have our kids in lessons every night of the week. And if that's you and that's what works for you, then you rock it. Okay? If that's what you love, you go for it because I have zero judgment either way. I just knew that when my kids are younger, I wanted to spend time with them. And so we have intentionally and deliberately built our lives in a way that allowed for that before quarantine. And so I kind of put the squash on all of this idea of, well, you should just be grateful that you have this chance to be at home with your kids, because the reality is that I had that chance before and I'm okay with how my life was before. What if you didn't have to worry about writing emails to your list for the next 6 months and maybe even a year? Yes, it's true. It's finally here. My students have been asking me for this for years, and I have heard you, and these templates are finally available. Engaging Emails Done is a quick workshop and template bundle to help you harness the power of email marketing to grow your business. You can set it and forget it and actually book more clients. If you're like, Brooke, I am so in, where do I grab these? Head on over to businessstraightUp.com/emailsdone to grab this special limited bundle. If you want to hear a little more, I feel you. I like details too. These templates are designed to be done for you to set up several months of emails in just an hour. Plus, I've recorded several how-to videos to walk you through the technical steps for several different email service providers if you're not sure how to customize and schedule them. Engaging Emails Done has not only a quickie email marketing 101 how-to if you're starting from scratch, but it includes a minimum of 12 email templates that you can schedule ahead of time to take something off of that never-ending to-do list so you can focus on what you love most. Side note, I did say a minimum of 12 because I keep thinking of things to add, so you might even get more than 12. These are brand new. I've never offered something like this before, so grab your email templates plus Email Marketing 101 plus tech tutorials before the price goes up. Grab these templates, tutorials, and help all at businessstraightedup.com/emails done. Again, that's businessstraightedup.com/emails done. Number 6 in lessons learned from 2020, that we don't all fit into a personality box. I love this one. There are so many personality tests, right? Like there's Enneagram and there's Myers-Briggs and there's human design and there's all of these different options. And I'm not saying that they're not real because holy moly, I know that I absolutely see myself in some of these descriptions, especially Enneagram. And quite frankly, I'm a Sagittarius and I see so much of myself in that as well. So I'm not saying they're false. I'm not saying they don't work. I love me some horoscopes because you know what? It's fun and it's something that it's kind of light for the day, right? But we don't all fit into a little box that lines up with a 4-digit code for the Myers-Briggs or an Enneagram number. And guess what? That's okay. And that's beautiful. When I was playing with Legos with my kids the other day, they both love Legos, but if you've ever seen the Lego documentary, I think it was on Netflix a while back, but they studied at great length the way that boys play with Legos versus the way that girls play with Legos. And of course, these are generalizations. They don't fit everyone. But what they noticed is that little girls would often be extremely detailed and deliberate with their Legos, meaning they had the little flowers and little flower pots and bows in their hair. They had all of these little details, whereas the boys were building military vehicles and walls and buildings and stuff like that. And it was really interesting to see my kids play with these Legos because I have tried very hard not to push anything on my kids other than kindness and character and things like that. But when it comes to toys, I don't try to push anything on them. If my son wants a baby doll, and he did when he was 4, we got him a baby doll. Who cares? And if my daughter wants Nerf guns like she did for Christmas, she got Nerf guns. It's cool. But when I was watching them play with Legos the other day, I noticed that her Legos were very colorful. And they were very round and they had lots of round edges and lots of dimension, whereas my sons were very linear and very straight, and he was building Jeeps and things like that. And I love that they don't fit into the same box. I think that's amazing. Does it make parenting harder? Yes. Does it make life harder? Yes, because we're all having to deal with different personalities, but it is a beautiful thing that we don't all fit into these personality boxes, that we complement each other, that we have the super artsy out there weird people like myself, and that we have the super linear, military, rigid, and very detailed people that are members of my family and friends. We all have different quirks and things that we love, and we don't fit into a personality box. And I saw that in 2020 more than anything, and I really, really loved it. Number 7, lessons learned from 2020. This is a quote from Pema Chodron. I'm so sorry, I might be pronouncing her name wrong. I looked it up and now I forget. The quote is, "Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know." I feel like at that moment, it's like mic drop. Okay, boom, episode done, right? I should have done video on this one because I'm pretty funny, if I say so myself. And I do, even though my kids don't agree. Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. The things that we are struggling with, the things that we are working through, the things that affect us the most, that trigger us, that upset us, they are not going to stop. They're not going to go away until we learn what we need to know from them. That is so powerful to me. And especially when we were looking at things last year, like some of the systemic injustices that we saw really come to light with George Floyd's death. So many of the things that we have just kind of brushed aside, and they keep coming back up, right? This is not new. We had civil rights in the 60s, which made great strides towards equality, but not enough. And now we're seeing it come up more and more and more, and it's not going to go away until we address it, until we learn from it. Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. That quote from Pema Chodron, oh man, love, love, love. I have a list of quotes. I have like my journal, my planner. I just have a ton of quotes that really, really speak to me. And that was one from 2020 that was one of my most favorites. Number 8, in lessons learned from 2020, the things that light you up are there for a reason. We all have different things that excite us, that really light us up, that we love to do, things that we're on fire for. Personally, racism is not a fight that I have ever had to address because I am fortunate enough to live my life and not have to be subject to these things consistently, to these injustices consistently. But guess what I am subject to is gender inequality and women still getting the bullshit that we get and dealing with that. And that really lights me up. And I am on fire for that. You all know that my first business is as a boudoir photographer. Business Straight Up is the business teaching side of my business. I am a boudoir photographer. Women are near and dear to my heart. And I am learning more and more that the things that really light me up, the things that I'm on fire for, are there for a reason. It doesn't mean that the other ones aren't important, right? It doesn't mean that the causes and the things that are going on in the world, that because I'm not spending time focusing on them, it doesn't mean they're not important. It just means that I'm only one person and I can only do so much with the time that I have. And so I have to choose what lights me up the most. What am I really on fire for? And right now for me, that's women, especially female business owners, when it comes to the teaching side of my business, because I know so many studies have been done that show that when women have more time, energy, and money, that they bless the hell out of their communities and families. So it is important to me to get the tools in the hands of women, the business owners, the creatives, the photographers who can help change the world. The things that light you up are there for a reason. Number 9, in lessons learned from 2020. This is, quite frankly, this episode's a little hard for me because I feel like I'm really speaking from my heart. So I'm fighting back tears on all of these things that mean so much to me. So if you hear my voice crack, I apologize. All right, number 9. Character shows up in the difficult times and matters more than accomplishments. And another way to say this that I had to say to someone else that really kind of resonated with me was getting a ton done, getting a ton of things done doesn't matter if you have a shitty heart. And I took some time at the end of that really to pause to think about that because I think we have so many people who are super accomplished in our culture, right? They've done so much and it's amazing. And oh my gosh, self-made billionaires, millionaires, trillionaires, whatever. We have so many people who have accomplished so much, but they're not doing anything with that. They're not helping people. They're not going out of their way to serve the people who look up to them. And the people who are rising to the top and still helping others, that's the character that I want to show to my kids. That's the character that I want to show to my students and my clients. Character shows up in the difficult times and matters more than accomplishments. Number 10. And again, remember, this is part 1. I am going to have a part 2 just because I couldn't get the list down below 20. I was like, we're going to share all the things I learned from 2020. So number 10 is always have something to look forward to. Okay, this is the silliest thing I'm going to share with you. We went into lockdown on March 13th in Colorado. So it was a little after the East Coast. We went into lockdown on March 13th. It was Friday the 13th. Coincidence? I don't know. But Friday the 13th, we went into lockdown. We were home all the time. We didn't even go outside at that point because in Colorado, March weather is questionable. Like one day it'll be super nice and the next day it's like 2 degrees. You just never know. So we weren't even outside very much. But I remember specifically looking at a big moon event that was happening in April. Because I'm a geek and I have a telescope and I love to take it out, there was a huge moon event in April. And I was determined that I was going to leave the house for this moon event. Even if I was in the middle of a field around no one, there was no need for social distancing or mask wearing. At this point, it was still people arguing over this stuff, right? This was brand new. This was when masks were first like, these can help. What? We didn't have to wear masks because we're going out to a field in the middle of nowhere. So we headed way east. I call it almost Kansas. We headed way east into the middle of a field. We got some takeout, which was a really big deal because up until this point, we had just been eating at home. And I love good food. So that was kind of hard for me because I'm a great cook. But man, why do they want dinner every single night, right? Right, ladies? So we got takeout. We got some barbecue and we took the telescope out to the middle of nowhere for this field. And I was so excited for this, you guys. Now, this was on the calendar because it was a moon event, right? And so there are specific days that the moon is full versus new moons and quarters and all that stuff. But I looked forward to this for 2 weeks. And it was so funny because it was so small. So often we look at these huge events to look forward to, right? Like we have a giant trip coming up, or we have, this to look forward to. And I learned last year that it doesn't have to be something huge, but I always need to have something to look forward to. So now it might be book club, right? I run Boss Book Club. If you're not a part of it, go to badassbossbookclub.com to be a part of it. Right now it's virtual. It might go back to in person. I don't know. We'll see. But it might be book club that I'm looking forward to. It might be brunch with friends. And we actually got a heater for outside, like one of those restaurant heaters, because I knew that we were going to have to winterize friend and family gatherings so we could be outside because of COVID. So when it comes time to get friends together and we're trying to be safe and we're trying to follow all the restrictions and all that fun stuff, we would stay outside and be under our heater and drink hot stuff. We got air pots and everything, but that gave me something to look forward to. These little things mean so much. And having that anticipatory energy of looking forward to something is so much fun. So I am building more of that into my 2021. For Valentine's Day, just a few weeks ago, we built love shacks, which is like gingerbread houses, but for Valentine's Day using graham crackers for my kids. And this was something, again, we looked forward to it for a long time. How can you build things into your day that you are looking forward to? For me right now is a bike ride. I love going for my bike rides every day when the weather is nice. And so I really look forward to that. And I do it midday because that's the only time that it's super warm right now. It might change in the future, but I know that I have to get a ton done in the morning because I'm really looking forward to my bike ride. And that energy is completely different. You're excited, right? You're looking forward to something. And so number 10 in the lessons I learned from 2020 is to always have something to look forward to. I am really kind of looking forward to, speaking of, these episodes where it's not scripted and I just kind of share things with you because sometimes I get overwhelmed and I feel like when I'm thinking of what I want to share, it has to be this perfectly outlined piece. It has to be exactly correct. And I am a recovering perfectionist. And I heard a quote from Tony Robbins yesterday that said, perfection is the lowest standard you can have because it means you don't do anything. And it's so true. And so I am working past that. And in doing so, I'm kind of looking forward to these episodes of just me sharing what's going on in my heart, in my business, so that I can connect with you. And it may not be perfect. It's unscripted. It may not have the perfect intro, outro. It may not have any of that, but I wanted to share it with you. Keep an eye out for part 2. We're going to start with 11 in part 2 of the lessons learned from 2020. But if you are someone that really loves to help other people and you know someone who can use this information, maybe they're just kind of feeling down and you want to send them a little bit of encouragement, please forward this episode over to them. If you are like, Brooke, this is what I want to hear. I love hearing these episodes. Or even if you're like, can we just go back to the business stuff, Brooke? Either way, I want to encourage you to go to iTunes and leave a review. I know it seems silly, but those reviews mean so much to us and it helps me know exactly what I can do to serve you better, and it helps me get amazing guests too. I am super excited for 2021, you guys. I have big plans, and I have decided that it doesn't matter what's going to hit. We are going to keep moving forward. I feel like 2020 was the year of bullshit and chaos, and afterwards, resilience, because all of us are going to get through it. We're coming out on the other side, and freaking men, am I right? So head over to iTunes, leave a review. If you have a question or a comment, or if you really love this episode or really hated it, come into the community and let me know at businessstraightedup.com/community. I want to know your thoughts on episodes like this. Do you like it when I share a little bit more of the personal side of me? I feel like sometimes it doesn't really matter, but people tell me that they like it. So I'm kind of stuck between this, like, ooh, do I share that? Or no, not really. Let's stick with business. I want to know your opinion. Come over to the community, or if you want it to be private, just send me an email at hello@businessstraightedup.com. Either way, I hope that you have a most amazing day. And I also want to know what's something you learned from 2020. You can take a screenshot, tag me on Instagram at businessstraightedup. And yes, there are 3 S's in the middle. So at businessstraightedup, all one word. Or you email me, or you can iTunes review, or come over to the Facebook group. I am reachable. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we will talk soon. Thank you so much for listening to Business Straight Up. I'm so glad that you could join us today. Check out the show notes for this and all of the episodes at businessstraightuppodcast.com. And I can't wait to talk with you again. Have a great day.